Hello. Playing with a little bit different format with the weekly recaps. I'm going to try and get back to doing these every Friday, just release a weekly recap. Um, I did these for a while, but then some real life stuff got in the way and I wasn't able to keep up with it. But hopefully I can do that from now on. Still out looking for full-time work, still looking for a new place to live. Yeah, but in the meantime, still doing game development. I basically don't have any other choice at this point. It's either game development or something else. I don't know what that something else would be. But anyways, get down to it. What you're seeing here is the Frontiers Reach Mercenaries tech demo, but that's not what I want to cover right now. Frontiers Reach Battlespace. This is the tech tree that I'm working on. I've got every node on here that is currently in the game, plus some nodes that are not. Basically, I'm working on getting what I will hope will be a massive rework of the tech tree. I shouldn't say hope, it is absolutely going to be a massive rework of the tech tree. I do have an update that's going to go out later today to fix some key issues that were brought up by players. Generally speaking, all of this that you're seeing here, this will come a little bit later. I'm also going to be reorganizing some things. Let's see here. So the plan for the eventual plan will be to have the tech tree split into 3 phases. Build out, automation, and flotilla. Build out is exactly what that sounds like. You're going to be building out the primary systems of your ship. You start out in a scrapyard. You get all of your basic systems up and running, and then after you get to your first planet, you can start going deep into the more deep into the more incremental improvements. Automation is where you start to automate things, with each branch having a key technology to automate the previously manual functionality, and then improving that automation from there. Phase 3 will be flotilla, where you're basically going to start working on building out a small fleet of ships, so that you're no longer a single carrier, but a proper battle group. In fact, the original name for Frontiers Reach Battlespace was Frontiers Reach Carrier Battle Group, but that was a little too long. Long-term planning. URP conversion, that's kind of up in the air right now. Mobile deployment is also a little bit up in the air. I think the best type of deployment option right now at the very near term is Steam Deck certification, basically just making sure it runs on Steam Deck. Then it'll be Nintendo Switch after that, assuming that I can even get Nintendo interested in it. I'm kind of on the fence on that one right now. Tentative features. Officers. There's been some discussion with some people I kind of talked back and forth with about adding officers to the game. Trade stations are already in there. They're very rudimentary, but you can buy things from them. Shipyards, to be determined. Flotilla, to be determined. There's also some interest in reworking like the intel mechanic, and I want to say that there's an interest amongst someone I work with to rework the comms. Comms is currently working. Monetization strategy. This is something that you probably won't see from other developers, but I'm going to put it out there. Initial point of sale. I would like Battlespace to have one DLC sometime down the road. I don't know what that's going to look like yet. But we also have Frontiers Reach 1, we've got our Patreon, and the Mercenaries tech demo. Basically, I'm building a universe here, and I'm doing it in a way that's not like I'm not doing a Star Citizen type universe. I'm not interested in that. This is intended to be multiple different games, each one developed or a specific type of person, specific type of vibe. So yeah, back to the tech demo. I've gotten a little bit done on this recently. We're going to go over here. What you can see here is the town of Abilene. This town is owned by Orion Incorporated. Orion Incorporated is the second faction to be introduced to the game. Excuse me. Currently I have 2 factions, technically 4 factions. Vickers team, which is like they're like a remnant of the Soul Confederacy from the previous game. The Raiders, which are kind of like an ever-present threat. Titan Line Security, which is a mercenary corporation. Orion Incorporated, which is a mercenary corporation. And I have at least one other mercenary corporation that I need to get put in here. But the idea is to basically have these guys fight each other. I'm still working out the AI portion of that. Let's go here and we'll just sort of pull these guys in so you can see them. Titan Line is red and black. These guys are not quite optimized yet. I will eventually get there. But, yeah. These guys are essentially what makes up the Titan Line Security Corporation. This is a basic trooper, this is an elite, and this is like the boss, the faction boss. You'll see these guys roaming around any point of interest that is owned by Titan Line Security. Orion Incorporated, we've got our private, corporal, and lieutenant. Your color scheme is white and black. These guys own Abilene. If you come over here, you will see them wandering around. And they will fight raiders if raiders get close enough. But right now, I don't have anything set up to allow raiders to attack this place. That's something I'm still kind of working out on the design side. So that's some of the new stuff that's been added since I think the last time I did an update like this on YouTube. However, that is not everything that has been added. We have some new artwork that has made its way in here. Got some stuff to start filling out the interior spaces. I have lights, like box lights I need to get up in here. These NPCs are just some stand-in meshes. They don't actually do anything. But most importantly of all, I've started adding some of the larger infrastructure in for making unique locations, I guess I should say. Unique points of interest. And this is all on one material, the record. But this will eventually probably go up somewhere on a mountaintop. I haven't quite decided where I want the point of interest to be, but I want to... The towns, I think, are going to be relatively flat. It's not to say that they will all be that way, but generally speaking, a town like this, small town like this, is going to be relatively flat, and it's not going to do, like... You're not going to have a whole lot of elaborate design in that, in something like this. This is mostly for testing purposes right now, but eventually small towns like this are going to be built around the idea that they're put in strategic locations and they have some sort of fortification around them, but it's sort of like the best way I can describe it, because these are frontier towns placed by people who are just kind of looking to set up wherever they can get away with it. They just kind of pick the best location that they can. But other places, like more strategically reinforced places, like I'll give you an example, because I do have one example. This is Vicar's Refuge. Vicar's Refuge was specifically set up here for strategic purposes. This is a mock-up for the ramp. I need to get an elevator in here eventually. This actually goes into the mountain. And I want to add more sort of like unique features like this, where you have these more strategically thought out points of interest where whoever built them, for whatever reason, felt the need to protect whatever they were building. And so a more strategic approach was taken to fortifying the facility. That's kind of what I want to do with that satellite dish. There's probably only going to be one place on the map that uses that satellite dish. That one specifically, because I think I have one other somewhere in a Git bash somewhere. But I just haven't found a spot where I want to put that yet. You've probably seen it in video, I just haven't talked about it. Where is it? There we go. I was able to, on a weekend, basically jam out the first dungeon room. This is what I call the Helm's Deep room, or Mines of Moria room. Loosely inspired by the Lord of the Rings. That scene where they're basically running through the Mines of Moria, and it's like just a giant hall with pillar after pillar after pillar. This is kind of inspired by that. This is functional. This room, at least. You can come down in here and fight aliens. As some of you may have seen, basically, the idea behind these spaces is that rather than having a room that has pre-populated spaces for you to just like go in and fight a bunch of enemies, each room will have a different type of functionality. This right here is a horde room. If you can successfully sneak through the horde room, you don't have to fight anybody. But if you get caught, then more enemies will spawn. Melee-specific enemies. There's also a desire to add like puzzle rooms, trap rooms, and other types of rooms. I've got a list somewhere in the game design document. I might pull it up one day. I don't know. We'll see. But I want to get away from this idea that simply going into a room and fighting a horde of enemies in a pre-populated space is somehow good gameplay. I don't like that. That might work for a simple game like Heroes of Hammerwatch, but it's not going to work here. Not in my opinion, at least. And it actually should be a lot darker in here than this. There we go. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with this yet. I might not even keep this. These areas are quite massive. Especially if you've seen any of the previous videos I did in the space, it's pretty massive. This is a boss room. Technically I already have someone in here. They're just not rigged up for fighting yet. Need to get this character rigged up. I think I'd like to increase their size a little bit more. I feel like it would be better to have a large, sort of gargantuan boss to fight. This is just a placeholder, though. I have concept art for an actual, cohesively designed race of aliens. I just can't afford to pay someone to 3D model them. So until that happens, I'm gonna just use these placeholder characters. And no, AI generation's not gonna work for some of the stuff that I've asked my concept artists to design, because I've played around with AI generated meshes. It's really difficult to get them to do the type of art style that we're working with. That's really what it boils down to. It's really difficult. There's just not enough reference material for the stuff that we want to create. Because what we're doing is just... it's a little out there. Even when I can find something that's close, it's not close enough. And given the state of 3D mesh generation with AI right now, even when I can get something that is close enough, the quality just is not there. So I have experimented with AI generation for 3D meshes, but as far as getting something that is gonna work within a actual game environment, it's getting close, it's just not there yet. But I'm gonna continue exploring it to see what the possibilities will be in the near future, because as you've probably seen in my other videos, I've used AI generation since 2018. I used it in the first Frontiers Reach game, also using it in Battlespace. And a lot of that just comes down to money. If you want games with all original artwork, you either have to go with AI generation for cheap stuff, or find a way to raise a bunch of money so you can pay a bunch of artists. Or spend the rest of your life doing artwork yourself. Anyways, I'm going to go ahead and cut it here. That is the weekly recap. Had a lot to talk about this week, mostly because it's been a while since I've done one. Hopefully, it'll be a little bit shorter in the future, so till next time.